was the commander of the space shuttle, and that's something that I always look forward to seeing Cadet Johnson someday, because I believe she will probably end up working for NASA, and I hope to see her up in space someday too.
Okay, Viv, do you expect to go up in space?
Oh, yeah, that's one of my high goals. That's really one of my high goals to actually work for, obtain. And the only person that can stop myself is just only me. And that's one thing. I always have that goal of actually towards NASA, going towards NASA. So I can't wait to obtain it.
You know, Major, I think that recently you mentioned the fact that one of the members of your staff was preparing to go to a pilot school. Let's talk about that. I would imagine that there are so many young people who might be watching this show this morning and who might be encouraged by the fact that they might be able to fly one of those large airplanes. I mean, what would they have to do in order to become involved in flying one of those airplanes?
Well, they would have to meet all our standards that I discussed earlier, and they would actually have to be on contract with us. They have to decide they're going to be an officer in the Air Force first, and then later on we compete them to be a pilot. They take a test that I mentioned earlier called the Air Force Officer Qualifying Test. Their pilot and navigator scores of that test are very important. They also take another test called the Basic Attributes Test, which is done on a computer, but it tests your hand-eye coordination. There are 4 things. The third thing is the commander's ranking. That is about 50% of the pilot categorization. Are they a good cadet? Do they come to fundraisers? Do they come to class every week? Do they come to the little things that nobody might want to do? Do they volunteer? And the last thing is flying hours. And many students don't have a lot of flying hours unless they are in a pilot type major at TSU or MTSU, but sometimes they can gain those flying hours on the outside by getting their private pilot's license. But even if they don't have a lot of hours, the 50% commander's ranking can make quite a bit of difference. So we do usually get a lot of pilot slots at Tennessee State. We are hoping that we can incorporate more with the AIT major at Tennessee State so that we can get more pilots and more black pilots. We are looking for black pilots in the Air Force, and we hope that we can continue to generate that interest.
Now, you mentioned pilot slots. What does that mean? Does that mean a certain quota that has been assigned to the detachment in reference to pilots and etc.?
We don't know how many pilot slots we're going to get, but we usually do about 90% of our applicants end up achieving a pilot slot, meaning when they commission, they are going to go to undergraduate pilot training or UPT. And that training is about a year long, and then they find out what type of aircraft they're going to fly, and they go on there for more specialized training.
And of course, Cadet Johnson, when they complete this successful Air Force enlistment, they can also come back into civilian life and use the skills that they've gathered there. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, sir. We actually have a 4-year commitment in the United States Air Force, and after 4 years, the companies are there to grab you because they really want those engineers, those managers, those people who have the leadership qualities, and those are the Air Force people. So after 4 years, your 4-year commitment, you can actually get out and people will actually grab you. The companies want you. For me, I probably will take this as a career, go probably 20 to 30 years or so like that. So that's my goals and aspirations.
And of course, you've had several people from this detachment who have gone into the senior ranks, have we not, in this detachment?
Yes, one of our most famous people is General Lloyd Fig Newton, as people call him, and I think he graduated from Tennessee State University in 1966, and he went on to be a 4-star general, and he is just a great individual and a great mentor and someone that our students can look up to and hope to be like. And we have had several other general officers, too, that have come to our detachment in the last year to speak, both females. So it doesn't matter, like I said, what your gender or your race is. If you're a good leader and you work hard, you can make it.
And so you would encourage Cadet Johnson, any person who might have the skills that they believe necessary and who might not have adequate financial resources to check into the AFROTC program at Tennessee State University.
Yes, sir, I always do. Every single person that passes by who seems like they need some kind of financial help, I always tell them, have you ever thought about the Air Force ROTC? And you know, if they're thinking about war stuff, I'm like, no, these are the leadership skills that you actually obtain, and you can actually take this to a job. You probably will get after your 4-year commitment. I mean, these scholarships are there laying on the table for you. You have to just go out there and get it. And that's what this scholarship has helped me out a lot, because right now, my friends, they're looking for jobs. I already tell them I already have a job waiting for me upon graduation, and that's one thing I'm proud about.
And plus, you're getting about $400 a month, too, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Which also helps out there.
That's one thing that actually helps out. Put in savings. That's the biggest thing, invest the money, because as I go on active duty, that money will be there. And that's what I love.
And so, Major, during the last 20 seconds here, what we're saying here is that they come in, they get a free scholarship, they get money to go with that, and then after that they're promised a job, and et cetera, and et cetera. And so that's about the best deal on any college campus, I would imagine. Is that true?
Yes, and we encourage people to call 963-5931 if they're interested too.
And thank you, the two of you, and let us encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.